you see these people making money online, you see all these different things, and it's like, it's possible to create a different life for yourself. One of the most asked questions that I get all the time is how I found my remote digital nomad job that allows me to travel anywhere in the world, be like financially stable by making a US salary, and this is kind of how I manifested it. My name is Hannah. I'm a digital nomad living in Rio de Janeiro right now, and I'm from the US. I'm from California originally, but I have been in tech my entire life. I worked at Instagram, Meta after college, and then I actually took a year off to travel. I quit my job at Meta making 6 figures within like 2 years of working there because it wasn't feeling emotionally fulfilling to me, and I can do a separate video on why I quit and the decision process behind that. But anyway, I went on a year-long sabbatical where I just taught yoga, traveled the world, and just got to enjoy myself. I lived in Indonesia for 4 months, and then I was traveling through, and I kind of like halfway through the year, I kind of was deciding like, all right, I kind of want to think about how I want to move the rest of my life forward. And while I was taking this year of travel, it was really expansive for me in recognizing that freedom of location is really important to me. Before that, I had lived in California my whole life. I went to school in LA, got my computer science degree, and then I had immediately moved to New York City, where I had lived and worked for Instagram for around 2.5 years. Then I realized like New York City is not my place, and when I was traveling for that year, it was really clear to me that I wanted to be able to be a digital nomad where I could travel and work from anywhere, because freedom of location is a huge thing in allowing yourself to feel like you kind of have more of your life beyond just your work life, because suddenly in the mornings you can go explore and like try out different cafes, you can work from different cafes, you can meet other digital nomads. Like in the evenings it feels like you're still exploring because you're in a completely different space. And to me, being in other countries where I can try different types of food, where I can meet different cultures and customs and find other kind of more international communities was really important to me. Also being in places where you can learn other languages and things like that. So around 6 months in, I started to get really clear with myself on what my non-negotiables are. One of them was obviously freedom of location. Like I wanted a remote job. And so I kind of just sat with myself. I have a big journaling practice already, but I kind of just started writing lists of like what's important to me, what I care about. So I had written that I care about freedom of location. I wanted to work with like good people who didn't just see me as an employee. I wanted to work with people who saw me as a human, like saw me as a friend. And I wanted to work with people who, yes, were like caring about the job, but had another life outside of it, where they weren't pouring everything into work, where like work feels like life, you know? I have also been a yoga teacher for the last 4 years, so having some kind of balance with like work and like balance outside of work was really important. So like good work-life balance, having freedom of time too, like not always being in meetings all the time, having time of like kind of trust in the work dynamic to be able to work independently. So I started writing down these qualities, right? Remote job, I wanted to make 6 figures. I had been making 6 figures in tech before, and I didn't know exactly if I wanted to be in tech again. I was open to something different. Like I have other interests, like maybe graphic design. I had been taking or looking into like YouTube courses on graphic design online. My background is in software engineering, so of course I was open to this as long as it gave me like freedom in other ways too. And so I started just going through this, and I updated my LinkedIn profile to reflect what I wanted. I was looking for only like remote opportunities, and I had updated my headline, I think, to reflect that. And I had also added like as a job within my LinkedIn of like the sabbatical that I took, to kind of make it clear to people that like, yeah, I took a year off, and like some companies aren't going to respect that and not like that. I actually went into some interviews where some recruiters and things like that were like, why would you take a year off? Why? And like people's reaction was really telling of kind of like what the work culture would be there. I had some companies being like, oh, like, why did you take a year off? Like, that's kind of weird. Whereas other companies would be like, wow, I think it's really awesome. Like, tell me about that. Like, tell me more about that. And I kind of felt like that is the kind of vibe that I was going for, right? Like, I wanted people to see me as a human who realistically, like, humans sometimes get burnt out and sometimes want to change their job and sometimes want to do this kind of thing, you know? So I had updated my LinkedIn profile, included very extensively of like, I took a sabbatical, teaching yoga, just like traveling, could kind of just explore myself and like personal development. And then I kind of just sat with it. I visualized a lot of the time like what I would be doing. I kind of sat with like how I would want my day to look like. I wrote down very clearly, really descriptively what I want. Like in the mornings, I want to have the freedom to go to the gym or go on yoga or go on a walk on the beach. For me, it's like being close to the ocean is really important. So like I wanted to live anywhere where I could be like walking distance to the beach so I could go for an ocean swim in the morning. I wanted to have like a flexible schedule in the day where like I could work, but then also like if I want to step out and grab a long lunch, I can. If I want to step out to grab like a yoga class for like during my lunch break, I can. And then also having the freedom in the evening to like go watch the sunset, meet up with friends, and like have this kind of freedom of time and space, but also location. So I was really clear with myself that these things matter. Also, I've been entering kind of more my spiritual path in the last couple of years, like things like the abundance mindset, living in the abundance mindset of seeing that there is more out there, that you don't have to always live in the scarcity of believing like the current life as you have it is as good as it gets. I had to really block down and like get rid of those limiting beliefs that it's like, oh, work has to be hard, work has to be like 45 hours a week, work has to be difficult, like you have to live your life around work. I think I had a lot of limiting beliefs surrounding those kinds of thoughts because of the way that I was raised, and because in society, like when you're in the like 9-to-5 like corporate world in the US, it's kind of easy to feel like your life revolves around work. I had to be really honest with myself and realize that like the universe is like so abundant. Like you see these people making money online, you see all these different things, and it's like it's possible to create a different life for yourself. So I didn't know anyone in my circle, like none of my friends are working remotely and like traveling the world or anything like that. Like that doesn't exist for me. But I saw people online doing it. Like I would watch videos of digital nomads doing it to like kind of open my perspective, see like, no, it's possible. Like there's other people doing it. Like it exists out there. And like if it exists for them, why could it not exist for me? So a lot of the manifesting of this job was me allowing myself to believe that it is possible. Because if you have this thing that you really, really want, and you are telling yourself all the time, like, that's not realistic, or like you have this voice inside of you that's like, oh, that's not realistic, or like that's too good to be true, then that will be true for you. Because our mind is so powerful that whatever you believe to be true will become true for you. If you're always looking for proof that like only bad things happen to you and life is so hard and life is unfair, then like your life will reflect that. And if you're always looking for proof that life is so good, there's always good things happening, like that even if something is hard right now, you can't see the full picture, like maybe this step is necessary for the next step of your life to unfold in this big, beautiful way. Like as if you see life like that, life will reflect that back to you. So I had to do a lot of inner work and believing and recognizing that, you know, like this kind of life is possible. There are digital nomads out there, even if none of my friends get it, none of my family gets it. They're like, why do you want to move to Brazil? Why do you want to move to Indonesia? They don't understand. But like for me, this is what my soul is craving, and I had to really listen to it and be honest with like, what judgment am I showing myself? Is that judgment coming from me, or is that like the voice of my parents or the voice of my friends or the voice of society? Being really honest about that. So not only did I do the work in kind of dismantling my own personal subconscious limiting beliefs and things that were keeping me stuck, I also had to believe that this was possible. I wrote down, visualized what my daily like experience working in this job would be like. And then it's crazy how I got this job, because I actually was reached out to by a LinkedIn recruiter. And another thing is that I got a lot of reach outs on LinkedIn that were almost good. Like they were almost good enough to be what I wanted, right? They were like remote, but you have to be in New York City, or remote, but you have to be within the US, or like there were different requirements and rules like this, you know what I mean? And I think that I kind of see it almost as like a test of like, are you serious about what you want, and do you actually believe that it's possible? Because if I had taken that job that's like, you can be remote, but you have to be in New York City, then like something like that isn't exactly what I want. So if I settle for that, then I am entering with the limiting belief that like, I don't believe that what I actually want is possible, so I believe like I need to go for the second best. That's not the case if you're really confident and you really believe that like what you want is out there and can be out there for you. And in this universe where like the sky is this vast and the oceans are this strong and the trees, like the forests are this massive, like I really have this belief that like everything you want can be possible if you allow yourself to truly, truly, deeply believe it to be true. And for me, like all of these like almost jobs where like they might be paying really, really well, or they might be offering other things like really good salary or like freedom to a certain extent. Like I had to be able to say no to those options and allow myself to know that like what I want is actually out there. One thing is though, I did find it really helpful to like take calls with these people anyway, because you can learn a lot about what you want and what you're looking for through the interview process too, and also it can be really good practice for you as you're interviewing for different jobs. Like for me, there were certain roles that like I kind of was like, I don't know if I want this, like I don't know if it really aligns, but like let me just take the call anyway, and you end up making connections with people, and you end up just like learning about like, oh, I really don't care about this. Like try kind of also testing your intuition. Like sometimes I would, before I went into a call, I would just have this like gut feeling like this isn't it, and I would sit in it and be like, yeah, that wasn't it, but like that's okay. And also just like recognizing and kind of like almost fine-tuning your intuition, because you're like, oh, I had a bad feeling about this, or like I had a feeling that it was off, and then it was off, so it's like that's okay, now I learned, so maybe the next time when I have that off feeling, I won't even take the call. You know what I mean? So I think that I learned a lot about myself. I also think that it's really nice to just like talk to the people who work at the company themselves, because a lot of times you'll get people who are really honest, and you can just ask them like honestly, like what's your favorite part of the job, what's your least favorite part of the job, and then you kind of learn more about yourself that way. This dream job that I got ended up being perfect for me because they reached out to me on LinkedIn, and every single person I talked to felt so aligned in values, and I just felt like, oh, these are the kind of people that I would have like really long conversations with, like outside of work, and just like I noticed that so many people at this company were always like pursuing interests and hobbies outside, and they even called that to attention. They're like, we love that you took a year off to just like travel and focus on yourself and develop personally. Like we love that you did that. And like it's funny because like maybe the day before I'd have a call with someone who is like, why did you have a year gap on your calendar, you know? Like I really believe that the universe is so abundant. There's so many jobs out there, so many people out there, that you will find what is meant for you, and it will come as it's meant to. And it might feel ironic because this really was my dream job at one point, but after I went through the interview process, they found me on LinkedIn, went through the interview process, I got the job, and like it was really great for, I think I was there for maybe like a year and like 3 months now. I actually just quit the job, and I feel like it's important to recognize that something can be your dream job in one moment, and it can end up not being what you're meant to have in reality, but what you want over time might evolve, and that's what was the case for me. I'll link the video where I describe like why I decided to leave this job even though I was making like 6 figures, freedom of location. Sometimes taking the step towards what you want will create a path for you that's like really beautiful and abundant and wonderful, but over the years what you want might be different, and that's okay. And I think that has been a huge learning process for me in recognizing that what I want can change over time, and that's okay, because we are human beings constantly evolving, growing. Like we're meant to take paths that teach us and lead us to different paths, and that's okay. But so many people are always asking me like, how did you manifest this job, how did you get this job? And the fact is that like they found me once I got really true and like intentional about what I actually want, what my dream days look like, and then almost just trusting delusionally that what is meant for you will find you, and it really will. I really believe that you cannot mess up a single thing that is meant for you, and I think that I was really clear about I think a lot of people do the reverse thing, right? Like they look on jobs lists, they scroll through and look for like the jobs that like kind of match what they would want. Most of the time are looking from the options that they think exist and then choosing from there, right? But I had done the opposite approach of where I was really clear on like, these are my non-negotiables, these are the things I want, and then it almost just found me. And I think that life works in this beautiful way where if you don't compromise on what really, really matters to you, then of course there will be an opportunity out there that aligns with what you want, because how abundant is this world? I can say that a million times, but abundance mindset really just changed my life, and I hope this was helpful for you. I hope that you can find a remote job that fills you up and gives you what you want, and if you have any questions, feel free to let me know below. I'm so happy to talk about my other experiences working in tech, or what it was like traveling the world, or what mindset shifts it took to be able to leave my job. Please subscribe and follow along for the journey, and thank you so much for being here. Bye.